Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jay from Sony Alpha Lab, and in this video, we're going to get into Sony A7C sports settings. All right, so I'm just going to get right into it here. I have my Sony A7C, and I have my Sony FE 70-200mm f4G OSS lens. Now, first on the side of the lens, I'm going to have steady shot on here. I have it set to mode 1, and I have it set to full as well. If you're shooting through a fence, you could try changing that from affinity to 3 meter there. That'll help you with that, but I tend to leave it in full, and of course I have it on autofocus. And as far as the lens ring goes, what I do like to do when I'm hand holding is turn the ring just a little bit and then tighten it. And then when I'm holding the lens, it kind of fits in my palm a little better. And now I can just use that and turn like this. So the palm is supporting the weight, and that gives me access to the zoom with these fingers here. And that's how I like to use it for the most part. All right, let's show you these settings. Okay guys, so on the top of the camera, I'm going to put it into aperture priority mode. Now, I know you might be wondering why I'm using aperture priority mode for sports, but stay tuned and you'll find out. First thing we're gonna do here is if we go into the menu, I have my camera set to raw photography. Now, you might want to use JPEG depending on your workflow. If you're shooting in RAW, you're going to want to do the processing of the images yourself. The RAW files are larger, so you're not going to be able to fit as many files on the camera. And also the buffer of the camera will fill up faster when shooting RAW photography. So there are advantages to shooting JPEG in some cases, especially for speed, but I prefer shooting in RAW myself. Now, as far as memory cards go, this is another factor that is important. If you want your buffer to clear as fast as possible, you are going to want to get a fast card. Now this one is a UHS 2 card. So this is going to clear the buffer very quickly. So when you're taking photos, you can only take so many before the buffer on the camera fills up. And at that point, you don't have to wait for them all to be written, but you have to wait for some of them to be written to clear off some of the buffer space. Now, moving along here, I just wanted to show you a couple other things. If I go to lens comp, I just want to show you I have all that stuff set to auto. Go back to menu, drive mode. Now, if I go to drive mode, I have it on continuous shooting high, as you can see right here. See that H plus? Now, if I go left and right, you can change the speed of that. So now it's on medium, low, high plus. So high plus is the fastest possible option. I prefer just having it on high though. I don't need that many shots. So I'm just gonna hit menu and go back. Now focus mode, I have it set to AF-C, which stands for continuous autofocus. So it's going to track my moving subjects. I have balanced emphasis set on both here. Focus area, if I go to focus area, you could see I have it set to zone focus, and I have it in the center area. So the outside edge of the sensor is not going to be using autofocus, just that center zone area. Now face IAF set, in here, I have that turned on and I have it set to human. Now, if you are shooting animals, like if you're trying to track moving dogs, for example, you're going to want to change that to animal. Otherwise, you're going to want it set like this, though. Now, AF tracking sensitivity, I have set to standard. Aperture drive in AF, I also have set to standard. I've found that these settings tend to work the best overall, and they're the most consistent. Now, focus frame color, I do have that set to red right here. As you saw a second ago, those boxes were red and not green. I prefer that because a lot of times the green leaves are in the background. Now ISO setting, I have the ISO set to auto. And right here, ISO minimum shutter speed, if you check that out, you can go in there and I have it set to 1/1000th of a second. You see that right there? So that's the minimum shutter speed I have set for sports. Now you can dial this in. You could make it 500 if you want, if that's fast enough, but I prefer 1000 just to make sure everything is frozen. But you can play with these settings as needed depending on how fast your subject is moving and how low light of a situation you're working in as well. All right, so because of this auto ISO minimum shutter speed feature, this is why I have the camera set to aperture priority mode, because I want to lock the aperture at f4 and I don't want that fluctuating. Great feature. Metering mode, I have set to multi. Face priority in multimeter, I have that turned on. Now white balance, I have this set to auto. I leave this on auto, and then what I do is, depending on what conditions I'm in, I will change the white balance to those conditions, because sometimes it's cloudy out, sometimes it's sunny out, for example. So guys, now that I have this camera fully configured, I'm going to show you this bonus pro tip here. So if you go into menu, and you go here, see this memory area? If you click on this, now you can pick where you want these to be saved. Now I'm going to use number 3 for sports. So right there, if you look, you can see all the settings that are set. So I'm just going to click enter, like so, and now that's registered. So now, guys, if I just want to go to sports, all I have to do is turn this dial to number 3. So let me go like this. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Now the camera is in sports mode. So remember, the one thing that I need to change is the white balance, because I set that to auto just because you never know what the white balance conditions are going to be. So I just figured I'd put it for auto. But if you go into the function menu here, if I just go to take a picture by hitting the shutter button here and then hit the function, you can just go to the white balance here, and that's where I would change it. So in my case for today, I'm going to switch it to daylight sunny because it's sunny out. So now I have the camera. If I just hit the display button here, you can see all the different settings. As I scroll this one here, you can see pretty much all the settings. All right, so those settings that I have set up already are going to get you good shots 99% of the time. But here is the other more modern feature that the Sony cameras have, and it's touch tracking. All right, so notice here I got Jay standing in front of me, and you can see the facial tracker on him. So now if I just want to do touch to track, watch this. If I just touch on his face, now it's in tracking mode. Notice how it says tracking cancel. So there's a little tracking cancel button up there. You can see it with that little X. Or you can just hit the center button on the back of the camera to cancel tracking. But now that it's stuck on Jace and it's tracking him, all I have to do is hold the shutter button down, and you see how it went solid green? And now if Jace starts walking towards me, I can just start shooting, and it is going to track him the entire way. You see that? It's incredible. Three, two, one, go. Alright guys, so that about wraps up this video. I really hope it helped you out, and as you can see from the shots that I got, the hit rate is unbelievable. It's about like a 98% hit rate. I only had like 1 or 2 shots in the one sequence where Jace was riding the bike and running towards me. Like 1 or 2 were slightly out of focus. Every other shot was tack sharp. So this camera system is incredible, especially when paired up with this awesome lens. So I appreciate you checking out this video. I will catch up with you next time, and have a nice day, all right? Take care.